Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 212, 3 ideas for camp end of the year. So I've had some questions about my camping unit, and I wanted to share a little bit about it. So today I'm going to share some ideas that you can implement with camping at the end of the year. Hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Devery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Devery.
Hey, so it's all about camping. Camp. I love camp end of the year. I've talked a little bit, I've hinted a little bit. I've actually specifically spoken a little bit about it in the last couple of episodes. In episode 211, where I was talking about 3 ideas to crank up STEM engagement this year or this end of the year. And actually that was more about like STEM challenges to do at the end of the year. But I did talk about camp, my 10 camp themed STEM challenges. That's such a tongue twister. So if you want to hear more about that, you can check out that episode, or even 210, where I talked about navigating the home stretch, 3 tips for ending the school year on a high note. And one of the tips was theme weeks. And one of the themes is camping. And the funny thing is, this is the funny part. This is the honest truth, is I am not a big camper. I don't even like camping. That's the funny thing. I could go camping. I take that back. I could go camping if I was in like a nice RV. Like tent camping is not necessarily for me. I'm old lady, and sleeping on the ground does not sound fun to me. I have done it, but I don't love it. I like to have electricity and running water, and I also like to have a comfortable bed. So if that can be accommodated, then sleeping in the outdoors I would totally be okay with that. Like, I think it's so beautiful outside, and not in Florida. That's the other reason. I live in Florida. It's hot as can be. There's not that much time during the year that it's tolerable. And so that sounds miserable to me. But if I could find a beautiful place in like Colorado, or even somewhere in New England, or somewhere where it was like the scenery was breathtaking and you're out in the stars, I would be all for it. But if you're going to put this girl in a camping situation where I am hot and crowded and uncomfortable and it's humid and I feel like I'm in a sauna, then camping is not for me. So, yeah, that's just a little bit about that. But I do love camping in the classroom. I think it is so fun, and I think it is a great way to end the year. So now that I have given you that little bit of information, let's talk about 3 ideas for camping at the end of the school year. So as the end of the school year quickly approaches, finding new and exciting ways to keep students engaged in learning can be a bit challenging. I mean, it's like the 3rd week in May, and I'm telling you, you are probably feeling like, can this end of the year get here any faster? That's how I used to feel. And also it was I feel like this week is right before Mother's Day. And so you've got so many things that go on in May, and it can feel overwhelming. You know, you've got all these end of the year activities, and then there's stuff with the school, and then you got to do, like pictures, and sometimes they have like a pep rally kind of thing, or I don't know, all these end of the year. It felt like it was just a lot at the end. And then you had to figure out a Mother's Day craft, and you had to figure out, for me, my birthday's in May. So it was always Mother's Day, Teacher Appreciation Day, and what is it? My birthday. So it was a lot of things in the month of May. Do you feel that way? Anyway, all right. So luckily, camps provide an excellent opportunity to help make the last weeks of school exciting and meaningful, and will help celebrate the past year with so much fun. Here are 3 ideas for camp activities and themes that can give a fun way to send off the school year with a bang. With these ideas, your campers will indeed have an unforgettable end of the year experience, allowing you to get work done at work. Can you say amen, my friend? Because that is the key. Let me get work done at work. Win-win. So let's talk about these 3 ideas. It's that time of year again, folks. So get ready. It's the end of the year. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The students everywhere are counting down the days until the end of the school year. But before they can officially say goodbye to textbooks and hello to pool parties, there's one final event that everyone looks forward to, and it's the end of the year celebrations. And this year, things are getting a little wild. First up on the agenda, a good old-fashioned camp out. That's right. Students will pitch their tents on school grounds for a night under the stars or fluorescent lights. It can feel like a field trip without all the headaches and the long bus rides. Personally, I hated field trips, but this one is totally worth it. Plus, you aren't really going anywhere, so it's fine. And it's a chance to bond with classmates over s'mores, ghost stories, and camp readers theater, and also an opportunity for teachers to show off their survival skills and get work done at work. Will anyone be brave enough to lead a sing-along around the campfire? Only time will tell. All right. Sing-alongs over a fake fireplace or fire pit that you've created out of paper towel rolls and construction paper and tissue paper is so fun. And kids love to sing songs. I mean, I taught my kids that. What is that? Kumbaya. That's what we used to sing at camp. You know what? I loved camp. So I told you in the beginning that I don't like camping. I don't like camping because I live in Florida, but I loved camp. I went to camp when I was a kid for 2 summers, and it was in North Carolina, which is why I loved it so much, because it was beautiful. It was outside, and I had the best time. Plus, I was a kid and my back didn't hurt so bad, but we did sleep in I slept in a bunk bed. One year I was on the top bunk. I love this stupid story. I was in the top bunk and my bunkmate was sleeping below me. No. I wasn't on the top bunk. She was on the top bunk. I was on the bottom bunk, because why I remember this is because it was like a springy old camp bed. And so it reminds me of that movie, The Parent Trap. I love that movie. Anyway, when I was a kid, I loved that movie. I guess I still do. Anyway, so I'd kick my feet to this poor person above me, and they would take bouncy bunk rides. They did not appreciate my humor. I was a little bit of what did I get? I got an award at camp, the Prankster Award, and it was because of kicking the bed under my fellow camper friend, who is my friend too, kicking the bed, and there she was jumping up, and then I would do we did truth or dare, and I had to run to the latrine naked. I ran to the latrine naked. And this was a boys and girls camp, but the boys were really far away from the girls. It was also a church camp, so it was fine. No boys saw me, but I was it was crazy, and I was acting crazy, and I would do silly things like that. But we had so much fun at camp. I love camp. Okay, I'll stop talking about camp as far as my own personal self, but it is fun to do inside of your classroom. So the best part of an end of the year camp out is it can be right inside your classroom. And all you need to do is have some fake logs and some butcher paper flames. So create a campfire right in the middle of your room. And we always had to put our desks and chairs away every single school year so that they could clean the carpet, and we would have to stack them and push them to the middle of the room. So what we would do before we did that was we would put them in a big circle, and we'd have a campfire circle, and we would snuggle up to the fake fire while forming new friendships and focusing on fun activities in the last week of school. Now, I did have technology in my classroom. I was a 1-to-1 iPad. I wrote a grant, had 1-to-1 iPads, but I just thought of this. I never thought about putting that fake fire on the up on the screen or on the smart TV or whatever you have, Promethean board, whatever you have in your classroom. That would be cool. Like a fake fire. I remember a teacher in the last school that I was in, as the media specialist, she had a fire going in her classroom and like relaxing classical music. And that would be their reading time. And I would always want to go in there and just snuggle up with a book. It was such a great atmosphere. So I think that would be really cool too. And then you could do like a semicircle around that fake fireplace, fake fire scene on your smart TV. I think that would be really cool. That's an idea. Anyway, and then you'd integrate technology in such a cool way. So here's a list of camp activities that are included in my end of the year camp out, because I forgot to mention that this episode is being sponsored by my end of the year camp out. And my end of the year camp out comes I have a bundle. It comes as print and digital. And also with the bundle, you get the 10 STEM camp themed challenges, which is a really fun, cool thing to do as well, and something that you can include in this week of fun activities. But that's available on TPT. So I hope you will check it out, and it will help support the podcast and also support you in your classroom. So that's really fun. Anyway, so let me tell you about the camp schedule. On day one, let's start with day one. So we begin the camp with a welcome to Camp Readers Theater. And they have some fun characters, like, you have the ones that aren't as fun, like the narrator 1 and 2. And you have some parents, 3 different parents, and a head counselor. And you've got another counselor named Positive Polly. She's very informative. And Camper Kevin and Camper Kate and Camper Whining Willie. Whining Willie is just not so sure about this camp, but it's proves to be quite fun for him. Now, how many characters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you may have to do a couple of small groups to do this so that everybody gets a part. That's what I did. I would break it into a few small groups. If I had, 18 kids, someone would get to be, play more than one part, and I would just divide it into 9 kids, and then they would practice and then the first group would perform to the second group, and then the second group would perform to the first group. And if I wanted to drag this out even longer, I could go across the hall and we could perform it for the class across the hall or down the hall, or anyway, as long as it took. And let me tell you, these kids were engaged with that play. They think it's so fun to do. They love Reader's Theater. I think we need to do more Reader's Theater. It's so good for fluency too. Anyway, okay, so that's the first activity. And then you have My Year of Favorites, where they focus on some favorites for the year, like their favorite book, their favorite subject, their favorite special, their favorite movie or TV show, so on. Then we have Camp Math Problems, which are super fun. They're like word problems that have to do with a camp theme. And they also really focus on addition and subtraction, because we really want these solid students from the grade level to move on to the next grade level. If you've listened to the last couple episodes, you know what I'm talking about. And if not, that's okay. And then we have Canoe School, which is so fun. And they are creating a boat that floats. And then for some reason, in the blog version of this episode, I made a mistake and I didn't have another bullet point. It should be, because we're designing a camp t-shirt. This is really fun too. And I get all these supplies from parents, and in my camp unit, there is a letter that goes home, and then there's a reminder, and you actually ask parents for these supplies, and you can kind of divide that up because there's several different supplies that you want. And you do want every kid to bring in a white Hanes t-shirt. Or I would tell parents that didn't want to do that. First of all, I had parents that would donate more than one shirt, so they'd send in like a pack of 5 or something like that, which was really helpful. And I never had to buy anything. This was always from the parents. And even in schools where this is a harder time for some parents, they're still willing to do things like this. And if they don't have a new, white basic shirt, they can always have an old shirt, like a shirt that they are no longer going to use, and because you're going to use the fabric crayons or fabric markers. I feel like they were fabric markers, and so it's not going to come off. So they're going to be able to wash it, and it's not going to come off. But it's just so fun. And then after you've created the shirt, kids can sign it. This can take a really long time too. I'm saying that because you want kids busy while you get work done at work. All right, that's day 1. Then day 2, Super fun. Then you do a book opinion. So you talk about the book that they love for the year and a book they would recommend to others. This is a really cool. I have a template too. It's really cool to have them write like book reviews for next year. Like you can hang these up in your classroom and they can be part of your display for next year. Especially if you do my beginning or my back to school camp unit and you do a camp theme for the class, then you have these. Actually, I think the recommendations are just generic, like they're not a theme related. So you don't need to do the back to school camp, but it is fun. But then you have like just a special note to like from your old students to your newer students. I think that's really fun. And then they do Funky Tales, which is like a Mad Libs. It's Funky Tales from Camp End of the Year. So fun. So like it might start off with they have like the first one is they need a plural noun, and then they need an animal that's a plural, and they need a place, and then so you're practicing like adjectives and adverbs and things like that. So nouns and things like that. So fun. And then we have camp addition and subtraction, which are basically addition and subtraction practice with just a camp theme. It's like little camp pictures behind the addition and subtraction, which they can also color, and that makes it even longer. And then we have a camp read like a little reader, and they also make a camp map. They create a map of a camp, which is really great for mapping skills, and it has like the quadrants, and it's fun. Day 3, we have a book commercial. So now that they talked about their recommendation, now they're going to create a storyboard, and then they're going to put together a book commercial. This is where you could also integrate technology if you still had your tech things out, like your iPads, if you had iPads. If you've already turned your tech in, then no worries. You can just do the commercials live for each other. That's fun. That makes it take longer as well. This is another fun one, a letter to your next year teacher, to your new teacher, and you can send these off in their portfolios, and these turn out super cute. Kids get to talk about themselves and who they are and whatever. That's fun. And then a math game called Lights Out. So it feels like a real summer camp. There's also quicksand science, which is really fun for camp. And I swear I used to be so scared of quicksand. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, I mean, I am old, I told you. I'm pretty sure I think it was the 80s with Fantasy Island. I don't know if anyone remembers Fantasy Island, but Fantasy Island always had a quicksand emergency. Like somebody was dying in quicksand. I was so scared of quicksand. I really thought like you were just going to go down in the quicksand. But honestly, I've learned that if you ever came upon quicksand, which is highly unlikely, but if you did, you don't panic, you don't thrash about. You have to stay calm, and then you're able to like get out of it. And I don't remember the exact way, but you might want to look that up just in case you happen upon some quicksand. But in Fantasy Island, there was always a scary one with quicksand, and it used to scare me. All right. Day 4 of camp is a fun book commercial presentation. Okay, so they create the commercial on day 3, but then they present the commercial on day 4. And then you do your memories from your favorite memories of the school year. And then this is also the memory book. This is actually the memory book, which I gave away for free on, I think it was episode 209 or 210. So check that out and grab the free memory book if you want that. And then I love math and science bubble day. Oh, this is so fun. I also talked about this. I think I talked about it in a couple of episodes ago. You do this, this whole science like experiment kind of thing, and they mix the mixture and solution of this bubble stuff, and then you put it on their desk, and then they blow bubbles. You have to teach them not to suck in, or they're going to drink soapy water. And I always tell my kids they're going to get diarrhea, because I know that's disgusting, but then they won't drink it because, kids, they were like, I want to taste it. And I'm like, if you want to have diarrhea, go for it. It's not going to hurt them if they actually got it in their mouth, but the whole goal is to blow, not to suck. that sounds bad, but you know what I mean. So blowing bubbles, and then you have a contest of who makes the biggest bubble, who makes the longest chain of bubbles. They actually graph it and put it on a graph. It's really fun, and the desks are so clean, and your room smells wonderful for the first time all year. So that is a benefit. And then the custodians don't have to clean your desk. They're all cleaned. It's really perfect. And then you have a reflection and goal setting at the end of the day. Day 5. Day 5 is a camp reader and activities that go with it. I wrote this little reader called The Camping Trip. It's pretty cute, if I do say so myself. And it's fun, and they do little activities with that. Then there's a camp day race across camp math game that's practicing addition and subtraction. So fun. And then we have high five for a great school year, which is a good way of ending camp. So you can do group activity. There's group activities for great camp or make great camp activities. It's the best part of camp is the end of the year. The kids can work in groups for nearly every activity. It leaves plenty of time for you to do work at work. No more busy weekends filled with end of the year paperwork, report cards, and placement cards. All of these activities are things that kids can do, and they are totally engaged. Then you can do, there's whole class team building at the end of the week. Just so much stuff that is so wonderful. Now, I will admit, so much team building is going on this week that you will want to be a part of some of it. But don't worry, so many activities require busy students that you won't have anything left to do on your end of the year checklist. You should jump into the bubble and math and science. That's so fun. This is one of my favorite activities. And together, you and the students mix the bubble solution. I already told you that. You determine the biggest bubble, and you blow straws and all that stuff. The benefits of camping out. If you are tired of the same old classroom activities and you want to break the monotony and shake things up a bit, well, have no fear, because camping in the classroom is here. Pack your imaginary bags and pitch your pretend tent, because we're about to explore all the benefits of camping out. First and foremost, camping in the classroom allows kids to unplug from technology and connect with one another. With no screens or electronic devices, students can appreciate the simplicity of gathering around a campfire and sharing stories. Plus, it's an excellent opportunity for some much needed fresh fun after months of hard work. But that's not all, folks. Camping out also promotes teamwork and problem-solving skills, for setting up tents to building a device that helps campers see in the dark. This is inside my 10 STEM challenges, camp-themed STEM challenges. So fun. Students must work collaboratively to make their campsite functional. Ooh. You can save 30% when you get the bundle of my end of the year camp unit in print and digital, and then the camp STEM challenges. You save 30%. So how do you prepare for this? Well, don't worry. All the preparation has been done for you inside of camp end of the year. I even have a letter that you can send to parents for donations. All the materials are cheap and they're easy to find. Just make sure you plan a little bit ahead of time. Now, I'm going to give you for free in this episode a Camp Readers Theater and Camp Awards. So all you need to do is go to the show notes, and you can click on that, and you can get the Readers Theater. And then I've added Camp Awards this year, which are not in the camp pack. They are a special freebie for you. So let's just tell you about that. So you can grab these camp awards, and you can do things like, who's the best camp actor, who's the best camp engineer, who's the best daredevil. I should have added the prankster award. I don't think that's in there, but I need the one that I won, but I'm pretty sure it's not in there. But just fun. It's just a fun way to end the year. And they cover everything from the happy camper to, everything else. Plus, there's a customizable template using Canva. So you can create your own camp awards and so on, and you can have a unique camp culture. All right. So it feels like overnight at camp. This is a pretty exciting time. At the end of the school year, it's always a great time to bond with your students and make lasting memories. With these unique ideas for camp, you'll surely have an end of the year experience unlike any other. So grab your camping gear, round up your squad, and prepare for a fun-filled adventure. Who knows? This might be the best end of the year ever. I hope it is the best end of the year ever, my friend. You deserve it. After all these years of insanity and more insanity to come, you need a good end of the year. I hope this helps. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.